Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today on how better data can change the world. We're super excited to be chatting with you all today. So before we dive into things, let's take a few moments to introduce our presenters. So Moira, let's get started with you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Moira Seablum. I've been with Safe Software for over 16 years now. I have several roles, but one of them is that I help coordinate the Safe Software Grant Program.
Hi everyone, my name is Javita Chan. I'm a technical support specialist on the desktop side of things. You'll typically find me in the CAD and GIS spaces in the community and on cases. So looking forward to this webinar today.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark Warren. I'm an FME technical specialist on the FME Server team and often helping with cases, live chat, and customer demos, and just supporting the product overall.
Awesome. And I think at this point we can turn off our webcams just to save some bandwidth during the rest of the presentation.
Okay, so the agenda for today. In today's webinar, we're first going to tell you a little bit about the Safe Software Grant Program, and then we'll provide an overview of the FME Desktop and FME Server products. We are then going to share a number of success stories from both our customers and grant program participants, and we'll see what they've been able to accomplish with FME. After that, we'll have a few resources that we'll share with you for further exploration, as well as the next steps to apply for the grant program. And then at the end, we'll close with some time for your questions. So through this webinar, we're hoping to inspire you to make a difference. We're here to support you no matter what the scale of your project, whether it is at a local level or if you have an idea that could change the world. We want FME to be the data integration tool that will help you make that change. So what is the grant program? The Safe Software Grant Program is divided into 3 streams. First, the Research Grant Program. Through this stream, we provide licenses to support unfunded research projects. These projects are typically conducted either by nonprofit organizations, charities, or by university students doing master's or PhD level type projects. The next program is the Instructional or Educational Grant Program. Under this stream, we offer licenses to instructors that are incorporating FME into their curriculum. We issue the licenses annually, but they are renewable. We just ask for a confirmation each year and for an update on how the licenses are being used in the course. Finally, we have the Graduate Grant Program. I'll go into this a bit more detail here because we won't be discussing it again in the webinar. This program is intended for recent graduates, and we consider anyone having graduated from post-secondary program in the past 3 years as a recent graduate. Licenses issued through the Graduate Grant Program are the only free licenses that we offer that can be used for production purposes. As such, the licenses can't be renewed beyond the 1-year period. And the idea here is that FME will be a valuable tool that you can take into your new place of employment. And we're hoping you can launch your career by using FME to simplify or solve any data workflow problems that your employer is struggling with. So since this Graduate Grant Program was formalized, we've awarded more than 1,200 graduate grant licenses. So what is the Instructional Grant Program? So this is definitely, as far as number of licenses go, the biggest part of our grant program. So FME is actively being used in approximately 300 accredited academic institutions. So instructors from a wide range of disciplines have incorporated FME into their coursework and their labs. Some examples include courses in architecture, BIM, GIS, computer sciences, geography, and the list truly goes on. The program is continuously growing, and we typically have very good license retention as they're renewed year after year. We often see the use of FME spread among faculty members within the same university, and that FME is incorporated into new courses along the way. So the growth of the program is both with new universities and within existing universities. And finally, the Research Grant Program. This one's near and dear to my heart. Our Research Grant Program is currently supporting projects in approximately 70 charities and nonprofit organizations. These licenses are issued on a project-by-project basis, and they are retired upon project completion. We often see organizations come and go, but it's great when an organization finds a new way to use FME and then reapply for another research grant license. And we've seen a wide range of projects over the years, and so I'll try to give some examples here. FME has been used to support disaster response, to help track emergency and SAR personnel. FME has been used in the daunting task of identifying, mapping landmines for removal and destruction. We've had a number of organizations use FME for epidemiology and disease tracking, and more recently in the efforts to track COVID-19. FME was used in medical imaging research where they were mapping the disease progression in the human eye. We've supported a number of organizations doing species conservation, so that includes, and not limited to, organizations conserving bats, primates, bees, and many organizations have used FME to help map and identify areas for conservation and areas that need remediation or cleanup. So the possibilities here are truly endless, and I admit reading through these applications for the grant program is probably my favorite task. I'm always fascinated by the new and creative ways FME can be used. So if you have a research idea, we would encourage you to apply. But data is messy. Data is often all over the place with lots of errors in many different formats, and some of them might be legacy formats. So this is a big problem, but this is where FME can help. Safe Software would much rather see you fight for your cause than with your data. So Javita is going to tell us a little bit more about what that looks like.
Thank you, Moira, for the introduction on the grant program. We'll now talk about Safe Software's mission. Our mission is to help you maximize the value of your data. That means getting your data out from their silos and into where it needs to go, enabling automation and facilitating your work to get to a higher level of efficiency. A little bit about our company here at Safe Software. We have been around for 25 years and we're trusted across 10,000 plus organizations with customers from 128 different countries. As we are purely a software vendor, we don't provide services, but we have a whole network of partners that do and can be found through our partner locator on safe.com/partners. So what is data integration? You'll be hearing us talk about data integration a bit when we talk about FME. So what is it actually? Well, it's about bringing data from disparate sources, whether that's a database, an API, an interchange format, or even more, and to bring it into a single location, whether that's to create a location of a single source of truth or to facilitate the next step in a workflow. When we talk about FME, we are talking about 3 different products as well. The first is FME Desktop. You can't do anything without FME Desktop. It's where you connect to your source data and transform your data and then write it back out. And FME Server is what lets you scale that up and enable further automation, whether you want to run it on a schedule or an event-based trigger. And then FME Cloud basically hosts FME Server, but on the cloud. Looking a little bit closer at desktop, this is the place where you can connect your data, transform it, and write out to your output destination, be it database, API, file, or even an email attachment. And each step is as simple as dragging and dropping and typing into the canvas what you want to do. So here in this clip we're adding a transformer by typing into the canvas through quick add, and then we can configure the parameters, and the data will run through it and process that information, and then we can add a writer to write out to our destination format. Once you have your workspace authored, you can then automate it with FME Server, allowing you to scale up to the number of people who can benefit from your workspace who won't even need to know how you created this workflow. The Publish to FME Server button is what will get your workspace up to FME Server for automation, which Mark will cover in the next slide.
All right, thanks, Jovita. So you finished building your workflows in FME Desktop and you want to automate or share this content with other people. Where do you go next? FME Server is the solution for deploying, automating, and sharing your work. This is the second piece of the FME platform, and it has a variety of core capabilities. The first would be performing actions in response to various events, such as running one or more workspaces on a schedule, such as this clip on the right-hand side. And you can perform extra actions afterwards, such as sending email notifications. The second core capability is easily building self-serve applications on FME Server that allow users to run workspaces and download or upload data according to their preferences without needing prior experience with FME. Additionally, FME Server can handle real-time data processing by connecting to your stream data sources, like IoT devices, and transforming the data as it arrives. In a nutshell, FME Server lets you make data and workspaces widely available to users and saves you countless hours spent on manual tasks by letting FME automatically do the work for you.
Now that you know a bit about who we are and what FME looks like, this is a snapshot of how far we've come in format support over the years. I think we're somewhere over 450 plus formats supported today. We've kind of begun in the GIS and CAD space in the bottom left as our bread and butter, and over time growing and adding support for databases, rasters, IoT, and indoor mapping. This is also something you can keep in the back of your mind about the kinds of formats that you work with in your organization and where you might be able to benefit from saving some time back working with this kind of data. Without further ado, let's take a look at what real organizations are doing around the world with better data to make positive changes in the world. The first one we'll be looking at is a story from Environment and Climate Change Canada. Environment and Climate Change Canada is the department of the Government of Canada that informs Canadians about conservation and environmental programs and policies. They use FME to harvest, transform, and publish open data to provide an authoritative federal geospatial platform and Canada's open data portal. Their data integration workflow brings data from individual networks, catalogs, and metadata, processes important quality control steps, and runs automatically to ensure thousands of data sets are up to date. FME makes it possible to perform quality control on a large amount of data and keep it up to date to provide useful feedback to program areas, improving data sharing among federal departments and agencies. Quoting from Christopher Thorne, you can think of us as the glue between systems and data. FortisBC is the largest natural gas utility and second largest electrical utility in BC with 1 million gas customers and 170,000 electric customers. Their GIS team needed a more efficient way to assess the current wildfire threat to their assets and customers so their operations managers could take immediate action. They used FME to automatically integrate active wildfire data from the BC Wildfire Branch via Data BC into their GIS, a GE Small World environment. This workflow not only sends notifications to operations managers, it also provides drawings, reports, plots, Excel files, and KMZ files. The operations managers can then provide accurate information to emergency responders to reduce the threat, or if prevention is impossible, work across teams within FortisBC to efficiently restore services. By implementing FME, FortisBC now has an integrated view of wildfires and assets for better decision-making while saving time gathering data. Now I'll pass it over to Mark, who has a few other stories to share.
All right, thanks, Javita. Another great success story we have is with Transport for London, a local government body responsible for the operation of transportation networks in London, England. They needed to run a large data integration process to support flood risk mitigation for 270 stations in the London Underground Rapid Transit System. The team had collected 5,000 datasets, including terrain, groundwater, and water main location information to determine risks to their assets. They used FME to automate the complex integration process with the help of one of our partners, OneSpatial. In the end, FME helped them reduce data processing time by 13 weeks per year, save £15,000 in survey work, and takes weight of repetitive work off their GIS team by simply rerunning the same tasks. Another story we have is with the city of Oshkosh in Wisconsin, USA. The city's child abduction response team, abbreviated to CART, wanted to enable real-time mapping and spatial data processing to help quickly deploy targeted search and rescue resources. They use FME to automatically process and map incidents, leads, and assets by connecting their lead tracking database to ArcGIS Online. This automated process maintains their public incidents map with near real-time information. The map shows the place last seen and a quarter-mile buffer, enabling the team to focus search efforts within that area. Automatically generating maps helps the GIS team focus on tasks that rely more on human judgment, like verifying leads before they get mapped. Using FME ensures the spatial data is mapped accurately and quickly, giving CART members real-time information and enabling fast decision-making. And now we'll be taking a look at a couple of success stories with organizations participating in the grant program and the amazing ways they've been using FME to make positive changes in the world. The first is Mangrove Watch, which is a partnership between scientists that visually evaluate the condition of mangroves in photographs and concerned citizens that are willing to collect the imagery for the evaluation. Volunteers record a video of the entire shoreline of interest while tracking the position of the camera using a handheld GPS. Still frames are subsequently extracted from each second of the video, and Mangrove Watch's FME workflow then automatically assigns individual still frames from the video recordings to portions of the shoreline. Prior to FME, this process required a great deal of manual work, which would take hours and was prone to error. Work that would take an entire day to complete was now reduced to 5 minutes. The time savings made possible through FME has enabled Mangrove Watch to greatly expand the amount of coastline that will be monitored in the future and has encouraged more participation in the project. Our next grant program story is with SMART. SMART is a partnership between leading conservation organizations meant to set the best practices around measuring, evaluating, and improving wildlife law enforcement and site-based conservation activities. Part of addressing this challenge involved developing the SMART software, which is a robust, flexible, and globally scalable suite of tools. The SMART software is designed to empower rangers, patrol leaders, and law enforcement managers to make the most of geospatial data using simple technology. Along with deploying SMART software around the world, the work of migrating a wide variety of historic datasets has been greatly simplified with FME through our grant program. It's truly amazing to equip and empower conservation efforts for endangered species around the world by sharing the power of FME. As described by Jonathan Palmer, the source data isn't always as clean as you would like, but without FME, we may have been facing an impossible mission. And back to you, Moira.
Thank you, Mark. So here's a list of the resources from today. These are the links that will take you to the blog posts where you can have a little bit more of an in-depth look at both the grant program success stories that Mark covered today. And I'd absolutely recommend them. They're both fantastic stories. So the Safe Software Grant Program, touching back here, we'll give you the next steps on how to apply and move forward with that. So we're pleased to see how much this program has grown over the years. We're currently offering 11,000 active licenses, and this number has almost tripled in the past 6 years. So it's growing very quickly. You absolutely can make the world a better place. So we're hoping you have some ideas on how you would use FME to make a difference. So here's a question for you. If you did qualify for the grant program, what would you like to do using FME to make a difference? So if you can, please share your ideas with us in the question panel on the side. We'd love to see your thoughts on this. So grant program eligibility. So here's a clip. It will show you where to go on our website to get more information on eligibility and of course the application form itself. Once you get to the free licenses landing page, the 3 grant program streams are on the bottom row. If you click into any of the programs, you'll see a description and details on who's eligible. If you feel you're eligible, or even if you're not sure, please go ahead and complete the short application form, and we'd be happy to work with you on licensing options. Even if you don't qualify, we do have a number of other options and programs that we'd be able to suggest for you. So apply now. Applying to the grant program can be done in 3 easy steps. First, visit our website, safe.com/free-FME-licenses. Next, complete the short application form that best fits your needs and submit. And finally, wait for your response. Either my colleague Shannon or I will reach out to you just as soon as we can. It's important to note that we're always actively reviewing and approving grant program applications, so there isn't really a wait time. Our typical response time is within 5 to 10 business days, and we do our absolute best to get to you quickly. I will leave you with a quote from Greg Patterson. He's been a longtime participant in the educational grant program. He sees both the value in FME as a data integration tool and recognizes that it gives his students a competitive advantage in the job market.
All right, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. As a thank you for joining our webinar, we would love to provide you with a webinar badge code that you can redeem in the community. So we will type that into the chat now, and also you'll see that on your screen here. Just visit fme.ly/webinar badge and type in today's code. So the peak of data integration, our 2022 UC, it's been a long time coming, and we're all really excited at Safe Software here to host this in Vancouver from August 24th to 26th. Here's the links to apply to present and also to register if you haven't done that yet. Definitely take advantage of our early bird pricing. So I'll drop that into the chat as well. And our FME World Tour 2022. Save the date for this. We have over 70 events happening around the world between March 22nd and June 24th. Once again, you can apply to present at one of these events or view the tour schedule, which is now posted on our website. And here are the links for that as well. Check out our upcoming and on-demand webinars. We have a ton of great webinar sessions available on our website for viewing and ones that are upcoming as well. Just visit safe.com/webinars. And at this point, we will turn back on our webcams and take some questions live from the audience. All right. So if anyone has any questions, do feel free to type those into the question panel and we'll keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, we do have a couple interesting polls that we thought we might ask the audience this morning. So why don't we go ahead and get started with this first poll question. I'll launch that here now. And so this question asks, what sector do you identify with? And so we have nonprofit, educational, research, and other. And it might actually be interesting to see if your answer is other, type that into the chat. We'd be interested to know. And we'll give everyone a few moments for this. Okay, it actually seems like most is other. Does that surprise you, Moira?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm curious to see if you can share that in the chat. I'd be very curious to see where everyone is working and if the grant program does apply to you. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, state government. Interesting. Okay, I will close that poll now and I will share the results out so we can all see them here together. So 50% falls under the other category, so very interesting. Yeah, type into the chat what sector you do identify with if you chose other. We'd be curious to see. And in the meantime, we have another poll here to launch. We'd love to know, were you aware of Safe Software's grant program prior to this webinar? So a few different options there. And once again, we'll give everyone maybe 10 or 20 more seconds to answer this. Okay, well, we're super glad we had this webinar this morning then, raise some more awareness for the grant program. It looks like so far the majority of people this morning had not heard of the grant program, so that's great to know. And I will close that poll in just a moment here and share those results.
Working on this webinar with Moira, I hadn't actually realized there were so many branches to the grant program. I was aware of the graduate licenses, which I thought was really cool, kind of coming out of school a few years ago, thinking that I could bring this license to a new workplace and just have that competitive edge. So it was really neat kind of working through this webinar and learning more about the different branches of the grant program.
I'm really happy that we've had this opportunity to showcase the program, because I think a lot of it's spread through word of mouth, and it's kind of buried on our website a little bit, and hopefully we'll just get a little bit more traction on there and people sharing it.
There was one question about the Mangrove Watch project. Yeah, I can speak about that one. So the question is it quite straightforward to extract a still image every 5 seconds from a shoreline video? So based on their workflow, it looked like they were able to do it in just one workspace. So that was actually quite impressive. I think they needed a bit of assistance with some external software to extract those still images first, but then they were just using FME to pin those images to their shoreline data set, just using those GPS points. So it was quite impressive that they were able to do it in one workspace, and then just based on feedback that they were able to improve the efficiency and the workflow design even more.
Awesome. And I'm just scanning the chat here for any other questions. All right, it seems like that's the only question we've had so far this morning. I think before we wrap things up, if you do have any final questions to type in, definitely do that now, and we'll stay online for a couple more minutes here. But I will just note that if you do have questions that pop up after the webinar, Myra, I know there's a grant program email.
Yeah, grant program at safe.com.
Awesome.
For that in the chat as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'd be happy to answer any questions, and certainly Shannon and I would be happy to look at your situation and hopefully find a program suitable for you.
Excellent. Okay, and with that, thank you so much everyone for joining us this morning. We had a lot of fun hosting this, and I know I certainly learned a lot along the way. So thank you so much to all of our presenters as well, and hope you all have a great rest of your days. Bye for now.